I do have this story pulled up from the GMG Union. This is I believe it's the Gizmodo Media Group. This is big news. Check it out. And the Onion Union. Wow. Our statement on GO Media's plan to implement AI content just days after laying off newsroom members. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not a big fan of Jezebel, Jalopnik, Kotaku, Deadspin, etc.
Thought you loved them.
Gizmodo. But I stand with them on this. Now, personally, I think it's fantastic if these people ultimately lose their jobs. Because I am remorseless and ruthless in the left-wing lies perpetrated by these individuals are horrifying. The reality is AI Jezebel is 50 million times worse than some random feminist complaining on the internet. They write, on June 29th, GO Media informed editorial staff that it'll begin a modest test of AI content on its websites. The AV Club, Deadspin, Gizmodo, Jalopnik, Jezebel, Kotaku, Quartz, The Root, and The Takeout. As the unionized editorial staffers of GO Media organized the Writers Guild of America East, we are appalled by this news. The hard work of journalists cannot be replaced by unreliable AI programs, notorious for creating falsehoods and plagiarizing the work of real writers. Can we just take a moment?
Yeah, no, journalists don't do any of that. Dude, they've literally found perfect replicas.
That's right. Yeah, and for lower cost. Our newsrooms have spent decades building trust with audiences. Sure. Introducing computer-generated garbage undermines our ability to do our jobs, erodes trust in us as journalists, damages our brands, and threatens our jobs. Okay, they're firing you, though. They don't care about your jobs. They don't care about you. Now, here's what I got to say. Man, that's a tough one to read. These people have no trust. They don't. These news websites have been sold end over end because nobody reads them. They produce an article to get viral clicks. Someone will read it and then leave and not come back. They have no core base. That's why they're struggling and failing. Timcast, for instance, is doing better than ever because we actually have an audience and we care about our audience. We built up trust with our audience by trying to be trustworthy. They don't. But I got to say it. If these websites implement AI, it will be worse than you could imagine because the AI will be unchecked. And it will be just pulling a bunch of random garbage from the internet, compiling it into a paragraph that's not real, and people will believe it. And where it gets worse, it's not about one website doing it. It's the fact that all of these websites, the AI they get, will be reading the AI articles they write. Gizmodo will AI generate an article that Jezebel's AI will read. It will then compile that AI article into a new article, which Gizmodo will then read. And then make an article which Jezebel will read. You get my point. If the AI models are only learning from other AI news websites, the end result is going to be a whole bunch of fake news worse than you've ever seen. Now, I can also say this. There is a positive possibility. If they do this, they are essentially destroying themselves. These people are getting fired. They're losing their jobs. It's the end of these organizations. And the AI garbage content will only work for a couple of years at best. So maybe we say, if they want to set a fire that destroys them, why should we intervene? My view is that fire will spread everywhere on the internet. And eventually you'll see some conservative be like, here's an article from conservative news or whatever that says Donald Trump does backflip. And the source is conservativetrends.com, whose source is Fox News, and Fox saw it on Gizmodo, and Gizmodo wrote the whole thing up fake from an AI. It will be too confusing if we allow this to happen. My fear, it's going to happen anyway. So at the very least, I can express I oppose it, but I think it's coming anyway.
I'd like to have some of these reporters, journalists, whatever you want to call them, on the show. These people that are being fired. It's, as you were talking, Tim, I started to think of Jesus talking about, bring me your huddled masses. You're tired, you're poor, however he said it, but bring them. They're allowed here.
I think you're talking about the Statue of Liberty. And
Jesus, that was Jesus.
Didn't Jesus say, like, bring me the weak among you, the sick, the poor? Is that?
No, that's in the Statue of Liberty.
Statue of Liberty, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not a Christian. But what, didn't Jesus also acknowledge,
he cared for the poor and loved the poor.
That's what I'm talking about, man. So these people are... They're about to be cast aside into the dregs of society. They're being fired from an already, in my opinion, crappy institution. I think it's time to accept, like, to be there for them.
You want to hire
them? Tell their stories. No, I want to have them on and hear them complain about what happened to them.
I'll hire them. Absolutely.
Maybe. Ooh, boy, yeah.
It's called the Goku Method.
Well, the thing is, I wonder...
Goku, see, listen, what you got to understand is a very important live lesson. When Vegeta tried to destroy the Earth, okay, and was fighting with Kakarot, Goku and the Z team converted Vegeta into one of their allies. And now he's actually one of the most popular characters.
It's a very Abraham Lincoln method.
Well,
That's how you got to do it. So we got to hire them and turn them into good guys.
Do you think there's anyone behind the scenes at these places who have become disillusioned and actually would like to work here?
I'm willing to bet.
I think there's a possibility that at least there's got to be at least one person at one of these places.
I am half kidding, but I am willing to bet a good portion of the people who work there are only saying what they think they have to say to get by in a city.
Yeah.
And if someone came along and said, how would you like to own your own house, have an acre of land to yourself, and not have to worry about this anymore, I'm willing to bet a bunch of them say, sure.
Oh, yeah. And
It's like, okay, you can move out to Western Maryland and West Virginia, where you can buy a house for substantially cheaper than a condo in New York City. You'll have land, you'll have a car, you'll have clean, fresh air, and no one will come down on you for saying the wrong thing.
That's the real revolution, is the people that are waking up realizing that careers and livelihoods will be stripped by artificial intelligence and a technocracy going to take their power back, like creating their own jobs in their own communities. That's how it's going to work.
Yeah, I mean, look, and I said this before when we were talking about another media outlet we won't name going under, and I understand this, no one here has technically gone under, but there's a potential for it. I hope that these people find more productive work than writing lies for a living.
Well, at least hope they have a great awakening. I mean, I'm sure a lot of these news networks, they celebrate if a coal mine shuts down or a factory gets moved overseas to China or to Mexico or wherever it may be. And, you know, I'm not excited about with AI rising. I personally don't want AI to replace truck drivers, because driving truck is a top profession for men who don't graduate high school or just have a GED. You know, and so like, I don't necessarily want journalists to lose their jobs. But a lot of these journalists have cheered on other industries like coal miners because of the, you know, the environmentalists in the journalist newsrooms. They hate coal, they hate oil, and so they cheer every time like a pipeline gets shut down or something like that, and tens of thousands of people are put out of work. But hopefully they use this as an opportunity to be like, you know what, maybe I'll stop writing cheerful articles about these rural working class Americans losing their jobs.
I don't think they will ever stop hating real working class Americans, to be honest. But I wish it happened.
But it doesn't matter. Let me tell you a story, right? It was Brian Krasenstein recently put out a tweet about libs of TikTok, and a feud ensued. And he shouted us out saying, he wrote, Tim Pool wrote the most fair and correct assessment of what happened with the story. It was actually Chris Bertman, our writer, who wrote the story up. And our intention with Timcast News is literally just to tell you what happened. I don't care if you agree or disagree with Brian Krasenstein. We've had him on the show, disagree with him on a lot of things, agree with him on some things. I think we had a good conversation. You know, he's a liberal guy. Chris Bertman wrote the story as it was. Krasenstein tweets, he's like, I can't believe it. He's like, it's Tim Pool who's writing the honest. Listen, maybe that will, you know, a little light bulb on for the Krasensteins. If you are reading Timcast News, you are getting our best attempt at just telling you what's happening. We are not trying to trick you or manipulate you or help anybody win an election. That's how you get it done. The problem is these people at these companies like Gizmodo, Jezebel, whatever, they're lying for clicks. Why? Well, their bosses tell them to. Not so much overtly. They say, hey, you're not pulling your weight. Your articles aren't doing very well. So what does the writer do? Chases the algorithm to try and figure out what gets the most clicks. Timcast News does not exist to generate revenue. It exists because we want there to be some good, effective journalism out there, be it Elad Eliyahu on the ground in New York capturing that viral video that took over the internet for the past week, the We're Coming for Your Children thing, or an article by Chris Bertman explaining just what the feud was, to the point where Brian Cranston is like, wow, thank you for being honest about what happened. It's not like it's a positive story about him. It's just we're not lying about him.
Yeah.
We're not going to make money off that. And we don't need to. We just want there to be a source for news that does a good job. News, I don't think, can be a big money maker. I think it's got to, so that's basically what we do. I'll stress this. When you become a member at timcast.com, understand that your membership helps support the news, the writing that we do at timcast.com, the news reports we do, and journalists like Elad Eliyahu on the ground at these marches just filming what they're saying. Elad didn't put out a video and say, I can't believe they would say this. These people are discussing. He literally just tweeted, marchers say X. Fact statement. And then everybody was shocked by it. It created this big hubbub. That's the point of doing good news, of doing, not good news, but doing journalism right. These people are just in it they're in it for the clicks and the revenue. You can't run a business that way.
Yeah, I'm also, I'm curious to see how these AI algorithms, when they start writing articles, are going to try to test the algorithm to figure out what goes viral. That's going to be very interesting to see, and also to see how quickly AI is going to be able to crack that code and figure algorithms like this out.
It's going to be, that's why I've described the AI apocalypse as people walking around dressed like corn on the cob, turning on a TV, and there's nothing but corn commercials. And then, you're going on the internet, and like everyone's phone is shaped like a piece of corn, and all anyone talks about is the new corn that just came out. And the reason being, the AI will latch onto something it thinks is popular, force it, and then create a cycle. Like, it will create a self-fulfilling prophecy of popularity.
It'll know, like, if this article goes up at 3:17 p.m., it's more likely to get views if we posted an article about corn yesterday at 1:17. And so it'll start confluencing these behaviors to try and manipulate humans to be at the right moment at the right time to see the stuff. But I do agree that it's not, for-profit news is kind of funky anyway. It was never really supposed to be about making money. Well, maybe it was, I guess. When they started newspapers, they were all for-profit. All those
Extra.
Yeah, I mean, it was a service early on. There's an old newspaper I was reading at an antique shop, or I can't remember where I got it from. It's like a bulletin. And the news is something literally like, Bill replaced his front door. It was like the news was literally just like what the neighborhood was up to.
Yeah.
And as the world got bigger, the news got bigger.
Dude, I bet Bill wasn't happy. When newspapers were just about what was going on around the town, I bet people were like, I don't think everyone needs to be in my business. They don't need to know about that new door.
It would be like,
IRS is going to start wondering how I got the money for a new door. It's just shut it down.
Literally, the news would be like on the front page, it would say, John's Shoes selling a new size 9 model. We talked to him about it, and it's like seemingly innocuous, but this is what mattered. And you read it, like, oh, I'll go check that out. I'll go downtown and see what's up.
In a way, it was a simpler time, but those were also the times when you'd get a letter in the mail saying, come, you're going to fight a war that you have no idea what's going on about, and you'll likely survive, and then you wouldn't.
And we ain't going back till it's over there.
Now we know what's going on in the world. We can say no a year, 10 years beforehand and change the course of war as a populace. So that's...
I wonder, though. So I think it's good to be informed. I think it's good to know about these things, but then you wonder, especially at a broad level, when people aren't focused on local issues and are looking more at national politics, how much a person can really affect. I think knowing more about what's actually going on in your own neighborhood, with your own school board and your own local elections would probably be way more productive in the long run.
Yeah, like building a balloon and floating a balloon, both are important. Like the building of the balloon is the local structural organization. But once you've got that down, you got to learn how to float the balloon, which is geopolitics.
Yeah, I just don't think we have the inflating of the balloon down. I was going to say I don't think we have the inflation down, but we have the inflation down. I just think we haven't reached that point where our local politics are as together as they should be.
Yes, not enough people know how to build their own structural balloon, and so they're screaming and trying to grab the one that's already there and control it. But like you've got to build your own.
Here's what I think. For no reason, I think everybody should move to Berkeley County, West Virginia.
Why? How come?
Just cause. Move to Berkeley County, West Virginia.
This is not financial advice.
If you're planning, we welcome y'all as neighbors.
Yeehaw.
I love it.
I'll just say that Jefferson County is the Harpers Ferry area, and then just to the west is Berkeley County. Jefferson County is based, and Berkeley County is cringe.
I kind of want to move.
And we need some good neighbors to come and help make West Virginia great again. So as we're seeking to, obviously we're building our studio. The reason I bring this up is because we're talking, in terms of local politics, people really don't pay attention. And so as I'll give a shout out to AG Morrissey, because last night we were saying, like, where's the action being taken? And he's not the guy for this in West Virginia. Some states and at the federal level, the AG is in charge of a lot of this. The AG in West Virginia isn't as much, so it's not necessarily on him. It's on the DA. But my understanding is that Berkeley County is surprisingly fairly woke. And so what all that really means is the people of West Virginia, especially Berkeley County, who we know for a fact are not, on average, lefties, have not done their civic duty and gone and voted and paid attention to what was going on at the local level. and they've allowed, for instance, child drag shows for children to happen in their jurisdiction. Jefferson County banned it. Berkeley County is allowing it to take place. Yeah. And I really doubt the DA will actually do anything. But, you know,
I got to say,
we'll see. I think if more people move out there.
And Morrissey's running for governor. I think he's going to have tremendous success in the upcoming primary. I think he's a phenomenal AG. He's been a leader on the fighting the woke issues. You know, the state of West Virginia divested from BlackRock before any other state. So, you know, everybody focuses on how Ron DeSantis in Florida divested, but Riley Moore, the state treasurer, and Morrissey, they were the first state to divest. And so I think he's going to be a great governor as well if he gets the opportunity.
Riley Moore's awesome, man. He's been on the show a couple of times. He was just here a few weeks ago. I got to say about Harper's Ferry, West Virginia, one of the most beautiful cities I've ever seen in my life.
Seriously.
It's like a small San Francisco, probably what it was like in the 1860s, right around the gold rush time. It's like just buildings that have been leveled to the ground. I would love to live in Harper's Ferry. I've kind of got my eyes and my focus on Harper's Ferry right now. And if it's coming out woke, whatever, I don't care. I will transform that city. I will be there for those people. I want to be part of the local community and the local governance. Wow, what a place to live with the divergence of those two rivers.
It's beautiful. It really is very beautiful.
And the real estate prices out here are incredible. I know the current governor, and some state legislators, they wanted to make West Virginia zero income tax. And if they end up doing that, I mean, I would move here in a heartbeat.
Yeah, property values will definitely jump if they do that. But it's sad. You see this happening in places like Harper's Ferry, where it's like this beautiful little town.
Not in Harper's Ferry. It's illegal in Harper's Ferry.
What are you talking about?
Jefferson County is where Harper's Ferry is. They have specifically outlawed drag shows.
Oh no, that's not just what I'm talking about. But Ian, you mentioned it being woke, but you'll have these.
Oh, maybe it's not. Maybe I have that wrong. Cool.
But you'll have these. But you know, you'll go there and see pride flags and stuff. I mean, you have these like beautiful little pockets of the country that a lot of left-wing people move from big cities to, and then start to fill up and hang their flags everywhere.
But they're allowed to do that.
I love it.
I mean, you're allowed to purchase a place where you want to. It's just ironic because they're the people who complain about gentrification and people being displaced. But then they're fine filling up these conservative little areas and pushing the original culture out.
I will say this too, because I looked it up, and according to westvirginia.gov, it does say that the Attorney General is responsible for state criminal law. Mm-hmm. So playing a critical role with regard to state criminal law, prosecuting on behalf of the state. So, but apparently, the argument I'm hearing is that this is going to come down to the county DA as regards to having this lewd and lascivious behavior in public involving children. So my view is just that, I bring this up. One, obviously it's personal to us because we're investing in the area and building in the area. But if people don't pay attention to their local politics, don't be surprised when MAGA country, West Virginia, elects liberal district attorneys who allow criminal activity.
You know what I noticed Obama used to do is jog around the city. I don't know if he did it a lot when he was president. Whatever.
Blagojevich did too.
Yeah, and I used to do that in LA. And you want to talk about getting in touch with your community, jog around the streets, jog around the blocks, just jog by people's houses. Sometimes you see them and you wave at them while you're jogging. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm more concerned about, are you paying attention to who's running?
Yeah.
What they believe in.
Not just who's jogging.
Not just who's jogging. And if you are not voting in your local elections, don't be surprised if one day you wake up and there are, adults walking around thrusting their naked bodies at children. And then when you call the police say, DA says it's fine.
Well, I'd like to give a shout out to 1776 Project PAC. They've been raising more money than any other group to help elect good conservative school board candidates across the country, and they've winning at incredible rates. And then also President Trump just introduced a new policy that he'd like to implement where you allow parents to vote on who's the principal of your local school.
Wow, neat.
That's great.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.